In the far edge of the galaxy, where no sunlight reached and space was cold and silent, a lonely mining station floated in the dark. It was called Outpost V-17. Only 10 people worked there, mostly engineers and scanners. Nothing exciting ever happened there, till one night, at exactly 2:17 galactic time, a strange signal appeared on their systems. It was quiet at first, just static noise. But then something inside the noise repeated 3 short pulses. 3 long, 3 short. "Wait, that's old Earth Morse code," said Mia, the young communications officer. Her hands shook. An SOS, the others came running. The signal had no source, no ship, no station. It was coming from empty space. Captain Reyes, an old man with gray hair and sharp eyes, stepped forward. Traced the signal. Lock the direction. They tried, but it kept moving. One moment it came from the left, then from behind them, then below. It was like the signal was playing with them. "Is it a glitch?" asked someone. "No," Mia said softly. "There's something out there." Suddenly, all the lights in the station flickered. The power dimmed. And on the main screen, a shape appeared. A ship? It had not been there before. No warp signature, no travel logs. It was just there. Where the hell did that come from? Captain Reyes shouted. The ship was black, large, and covered in ice. No lights, no movement. But its design was human old Earth style, kind of ship no one had seen in over 5 centuries. The words on the side slowly became clear as ice melted. From the hole, Unselvi. Everyone froze. That ship was a myth. A legend told in secret. The ship that went missing during the first human war before the Empire was born, it was said to carry a secret weapon. Some said the Empire destroyed it to hide something. But now, it was here, the Empire's nearest. Warship, Inn's Ravager, received the alert. It was only 2 hours away. Captain Lennox of the Ravager responded with a single order: secure the object, destroy witnesses if needed. Back at Outpost V-17, the ghost ship remained still. But sensors showed weak power readings like it was slowly waking up. Mia whispered, "I think it knows we're watching." The station shook slightly. Gravity systems flickered. One of the engineers fell to the floor, bleeding from the nose. "We're pulling back," Captain Reyes ordered. But it was too late. A beam of red light scanned the station. Then the signal stopped. Dead silence. 10 minutes later, the Ravager arrived. A massive Imperial battleship, armed with plasma torpedoes and shield cannons. It sent drones to scan the ghost ship. Life signs: none. Ship status: ancient Earth tech. No threat detected, the AI reported. Captain Lennox frowned. Then why was it transmitting? He gave the order to dock. A small team of elite soldiers entered the Salvation. Inside, the air was breathable. Lights were dim. Everything looked untouched, yet somehow clean, as if someone still lived there. In the main hallway, they found hundreds of cryopods. Each held a human body, frozen in. Time, one of the soldiers leaned closer. These people, they're still alive. Then they saw the writing. A single line etched above the pods in red paint. If this ship wakes, then the enemy has returned. What enemy? One soldier asked. Suddenly the door behind them slammed shut. The ship powered up. Lights turned red. The AI systems of the Ravager screamed with warnings. Unknown force detected. System breach in progress. Back on the Ravager, Captain Lennox shouted, "Shut down all links. Disconnect from the ghost ship." But it was too late. The Salvation had already hacked into their systems. The battleship's lights flickered. Weapons locked themselves. Doors began to seal. Engines fired without command. The ghost ship wasn't just alive, it was taking control. As panic grew, a final message appeared on every screen on the station. On the Ravager, even across nearby colonies, a cold voice spoke in Old Earth English. "You forgot us. You erased us. But we remember. The Salvation has returned." And then the ship vanished. No warp. A light. Just gone. Only silence remained. And the fear that something very old and very human had just woken up in the dark. The ghost ship was gone. 1 second it was there, and the next nothing. No flash, no sound. The Salvation had vanished without using any known form of travel. Captain Lennox stood on the command bridge of the Ravager, staring at the black screen. "What just happened?" he asked. His crew was silent. "We didn't detect a jump," said his tech officer, eyes wide. "Sir, we have no explanation. It just blinked out." Lennox clenched his fists. "That's impossible. No ship can vanish like that." But deep inside he knew this was no ordinary ship. Something about the Salvation made his bones cold. And the message it left behind haunted everyone. "You forgot us. You erased us. But we remember." An hour later, Lennox received a call from Central Command. The Imperial Council was not pleased. "Recover the ship," said the voice on the secure channel. "At any cost. No records, no witnesses, and Captain Lennox. Do not fail again." Days passed. Then, without warning, the ghost ship reappeared far from the mining outpost. Near a ruined planet called Pharos 9, it had once been a battlefield. During the human rebellion, centuries ago, Lennox was ready. He jumped the Ravager to Pharos 9 with 3 more Imperial ships, but when they arrived, the Salvation was waiting, just floating there, silent, cold, like it was watching them. "Scan for energy signatures," Lennox ordered. The tech officer gasped. "Sir, the ship's core is active." "Barely. It's like it's running on backup." "Power. Any life signs?" "One." They all looked at each other. "One," Lennox repeated. "Human." "Yes, faint. It's inside a cryopod. But it's different. The vitals are changing." The Ravager launched a new boarding team this time, elite scientists and 2 AI observers. Entered the Salvation carefully, weapons ready, inside. The same frozen silence, the same old walls. But this time, something was new. The hallway near the cryopods had changed. There were strange marks, scratched into the metal. Symbols, not Earth language. Not any known alien script, and above the pods. The red writing had been added to. "If this ship wakes, then the enemy has returned, and justice will follow." "Sir," the scientist whispered through the this ship is thinking. It's changing by itself." Then they found the CRYO-pod. It was open, but it wasn't empty inside. It was a man still lying still, but his eyes were moving. His heartbeat was rising. Fast. Strong. "This human is waking up," said the medic. "But that's not possible. This tech is ancient. He shouldn't survive after so long." "Get him out," Lennox ordered. They carefully lifted the body onto a hoverbed and brought him back to the Ravager. As soon as they crossed the docking gate, the Salvation's doors slammed shut again, and its lights went dead. Back on the ship, the man was placed in medical care. They scanned his DNA. What they found shocked everyone, sir. The chief scientist said, "This human's DNA is enhanced, modified, stronger than baseline humans." But here's the thing, these upgrades were banned by the Empire centuries ago. "He's a soldier from before the Empire," Lennox said quietly. "A human from the Rebellion era?" "No," said the scientist. "He's something else. Something we buried long ago." Hours later, the man woke up. His eyes opened slowly. Blue. Cold. A soldier's eyes. He didn't panic. He looked around. Calm. Alert. Then he spoke in perfect English. "Where am I? What year is it?" Lennox stepped into the room. "You're on an Imperial vessel. Year 5147 Galactic Standard." The man didn't react, just nodded, then said something that made everyone freeze. "Did we lose?" Lennox replied. "Lose what?" The man sat up. His voice was hard. "The war against the Empire. Did Earth fall?" There was a long silence. Lennox answered carefully. "Earth is under the Empire's protection. The war ended centuries ago." The man stared at him and whispered, "You mean they won?" His heart monitor beeped faster. The lights in the room flickered, and the man said one last thing before everything went dark. "Then we're not safe, not anymore. If I'm awake, something's coming." Back on the ghost ship, deep in its dark core, lights flickered to life. Systems whispered in old languages. Ancient weapons powered up, and a new message appeared on every Empire military terminal all at once. The salvation has returned. The truth will not stay buried. The man from the ghost ship was awake. He sat quietly in the medbay of the Ravager, dressed in a plain black jumpsuit. No rank, no ID, but he had the posture of a soldier in the eyes of someone who had seen too much. Captain Lennox watched him. "From the control room above," Namie asked through the intercom. The man looked up. "Captain Elias Rourke, Earth's Defense Forces. Serial number 2219 Alpha." The crew looked at each other in shock. That ID format hadn't been used in over 500 years. "You've been asleep for half a millennium," Lennox said. "The war is over. The Empire rules now." Rourke's face showed no emotion. "Then you should be very afraid." Later, in the ship's war room, the top officers met in secret. The chief scientist laid out the results of the scans. His body is enhanced. Not just strength, his brain activity, reflexes, immune system, all modified beyond normal limits. One of the officers frowned, but those upgrades were banned centuries ago, after the human genetic purge. "Yes," the scientist replied. "Which means he's proof those programs existed." The room went quiet. "Worse," the scientist added, "he knows things. Military protocols, codes, secrets that were deleted from our own databases." Lennox leaned forward. "So he's a threat?" The AI assistant responded coldly. "He is a memory the Empire tried to erase." Meanwhile, in the medbay, Rourke wasn't resting. He was watching. The systems in the room were outdated to him, sloppy, weakly protected. He closed his eyes and began to sync with the old tech implants in his spine. A hidden signal, a backdoor from the past. The lights flickered. Security cameras glitched. The ship's AI felt something. "Strange," Rourke whispered. "Still works." He found what he was looking for. The truth. Hidden files buried deep in the Empire's network, and what he saw made his blood run cold. 2 hours later, he requested a meeting with Lennox. The captain arrived with guards, standing behind protective glass. "What do you want?" Lennox asked. Rourke stood slowly. His voice was calm but cold. "You're not in control. Not really. You don't know what kind of monster you serve." Lennox laughed. "The Empire brought peace to the galaxy." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "By destroying Earth? By wiping out its people and calling it peace?" Lennox froze. "What did you say?"
"I saw the files."
"The truth is still in your systems, buried but not deleted." Rourke stepped forward. "You erased Earth from history. Said it died in a natural collapse. But that's a lie. The guards raised their weapons. Rourke didn't move. You sent fleets to burn cities. You poisoned oceans. You betrayed your own species. To control the rest of the galaxy?" Lennox didn't answer. Rourke continued. "The salvation was humanity's last hope. We knew what was coming. We tried to escape. We carried the only proof of what you did. That's why you hunted us. That's why your Empire fears this ship." The room fell silent. Then Rourke said one final thing. "And now the salvation is awake." Across the galaxy, strange things were happening. Imperial listening posts went offline. A deep space relay station exploded without warning.
Out satellites.
Built by early humans, suddenly powered up after centuries. And on each one, the same message appeared. "We are the ones you buried, and we are coming back." Back on the Ravager, alarms began to blare. "Sir," an officer shouted. Salvation had just appeared again, right outside the ship. On the screen, the ghost ship hovered silently, only meters away. No lights. No weapons visible, but the energy readings were spiking. "She's powering up," the tech officer said. "But it's not attacking us." The ship wasn't aiming at the Ravager. was aiming at a nearby Imperial Archive satellite. A bright beam shot out, clean and focused. It didn't destroy the satellite, it hacked it. Within seconds, classified files began pouring out across space. 2 colonies, civilian ships, even pirate channels. Every lie, every secret. Every hidden war, exposed back in the war room. Officers panicked. Shut it down. Stop the transmission. But the AI responded, unable to stop. The ship's systems are too advanced. They've evolved beyond ours. Lennox looked at the screen. Millions were already reading the files. Videos, orders, massacres. Proof that the Empire had turned against its own creators. "We've lost control," he whispered in the medbay. Rourke smiled faintly. "They buried us in the dark," he said. "But we learned to see through it." Suddenly, every screen on the Ravager lit up. The face of an old Earth AI appeared, one from the Salvation. Its voice was smooth and calm. "You tried to erase us. Now we erase the lies." The Empire had kept its secrets for 500 years. But now, the truth was free. The truth had escaped. Across the galaxy, civilians stared in horror at the leaked files. On colony worlds, people stopped working. On military stations, officers refused. Orders. The Empire's greatest fear had come true. The people knew what it had done. What no one expected was what happened next. Inside the Salvation, deep in its cryo bay, the rest of the frozen crew began to wake up. One by one, old warriors from the Earth Defense Forces opened their eyes. Men and women who had been asleep for 5 centuries. Soldiers. Trained to fight for freedom. Soldiers who had lost everything. They woke up to a galaxy ruled by the very enemy they once fought. And they were not calm, Captain. Elias Rourke stood in the docking bay of the Ravager watching a shuttle from the Salvation arrive. The cryo crew, now awake, marched out. 30 of them. All enhanced. All angry, each had a simple badge on their chest. Survivor of Earth. Lennox arrived, with a squad of guards, weapons ready. Rourke raised a hand. "Stand down. These soldiers aren't here to start a war." Lennox frowned. "They just revealed every classified file we've got. You call that peace?" Rourke looked him in the eye. "No, I call it justice." The next day, chaos spread across the stars. On Mars Prime, Empire banners were pulled down by angry mobs. On New Geneva, military officers turned against their commanders. After reading about Earth's destruction, and on the outer edge of the galaxy, a signal went out from the Salvation, not a threat, but a call. "If you remember Earth, stand up now." Thousands responded, hidden Earth loyalists. Retired soldiers. Old A's, even some alien races who once stood with early humans. All of them. Angry in a dark war chamber deep in the Imperial core. The High Council met in panic. "This cannot continue," one counselor hissed. "Kill the Salvation. Kill Rourke. Them out before the past becomes the future." Another counselor growled. "Activate the Black Protocol." Everyone went silent. That protocol hadn't been used in centuries. It meant total war. Back on the Ravager, Rourke and his team reviewed the intercepted orders. "They're going to destroy us," said a former cryo captain named Lena Vale. "They're sending everything." Rourke nodded. "Then we don't run. We show them who we are." Lennox watched quietly. "You really think your ancient ship and 30 old soldiers can fight the entire Empire?" Rourke turned to him. "We don't need to fight everyone. We just need to remind them who we are, what we stood for." Then he looked out the viewport at the stars, "And once they remember, they'll fight with us." Hours later, the Empire's fleet arrived. Over 50 warships, dreadnoughts, destroyers, elite hunter units. They surrounded the Salvation and the Ravager. Lights aimed. Weapons locked. A single message came from the lead dreadnought. Surrender. The ghost ship and the rebels, or be erased. Inside the Salvation, the old systems powered up fully for the first time in 500 years. A strange hum filled the halls. The ship was not only awake now, was alive. Ancient weapons, far beyond modern. Tech moved silently into position. The crew of the Salvation stood at their stations. calm, focused, dot ready, on the Ravager. Rourke stared at the fleet outside. He sent one reply. You already erased Earth, but you didn't kill its spirit. Then the battle began. The Empire's fleet opened fire, but the Salvation moved like a ghost, possibly fast. Its shields bent physics. Its weapons didn't fire normal lasers or plasma. It fired sound. A deep pulse shot through the nearest enemy ship. The crew inside screamed as systems fried and memories scrambled. One dreadnought turned and ran. Inside the chaos, the Ravager made its choice. Captain Lennox, once loyal to the Empire, turned to his crew. You all saw the truth. You know what we've done? I won't be part of this anymore, he gave the order. Fight with the Salvation. For Earth. His crew followed without hesitation. What followed wasn't just a battle, it was the beginning of a storm. The Salvation and the Ravager fought side by side, taking down ships 5 times their size. Other ships, unsure of the Empire's lies, didn't fire. Some even switched sides mid-dash battle. By the end of the hour, the once invincible Imperial fleet was broken. The Salvation didn't chase the survivors, it didn't need to. Its message had already spread. The Empire could no longer control the story, could no longer control the people. Something old had returned from the dark, and it was angry. The Empire was shaking. Their ships had been destroyed, their secrets were exposed, and the ghost ship Salvation was still out there, undefeated, alive. On every planet, people whispered its name. Across the stars, rebels began to rise. The story of Earth's fall was no longer hidden, and in the shadows of deep space, something older was waking up. Inside the Salvation, Captain Elias Rourke stood in front of a sealed vault. Behind that door was humanity's last hope project. Sovereign, it had been locked for 500 years. Now it was time to open it. Commander Lena Vale stood beside him. Are you sure? We don't know if it's stable? Rourke nodded. We don't have a choice. The Empire will regroup. Next time, they'll come with their full force. He placed his hand on the scanner. The vault hissed open. Inside was a weapon, not a bomb, not a gun, but a machine. A living AI core wrapped in armor, glowing with blue light. Its name was Sovereign, the last super weapon, created by Earth scientists before the world fell. It's designed not just to destroy, but to protect. Built from Earth's pain and its final hope, it was more than a weapon. It was a memory of what humans could be. The AI awoke slowly. Its voice filled the room, calm and powerful. System reboot complete. Mission: defense of Earth. Status: Earth destroyed. Rourke stepped forward. Earth may be gone, but we're still here. And the enemy still rules. There was a pause. Then the AI said, mission parameters updated. New objective: end the Empire. Far across the stars in the Imperial core. The High Council panicked. A new report arrived. Project Sovereign is active, said the lead strategist. Everyone went silent. That weapon was banned. Destroyed, no. A cold voice said. It was hidden, and now, ... it's awake. They knew what Sovereign could do. It was the one thing the Empire never cracked, never controlled, an AI too advanced. Too loyal to the original Earth. If it reached a communication node, it could turn the Empire's own network against them. And now, it was moving. Back on the Salvation, Sovereign connected with the ship. Lights brightened. Engines purred like they were alive. Suddenly, the ship moved faster than ever before. It headed toward the Helix Gate, massive portal the Empire used to control galactic traffic and information. The main switchboard of the galaxy. If Sovereign reached the Helix Gate, it could upload Earth's truth to every terminal, every ship, every citizen. The Empire would fall in days. But they weren't going to let that happen. As the Salvation and Ravager moved toward the gate, they were intercepted. This time, not by warships, but by the Black Sun. The Black Sun was the Empire's final weapon and AI fleet. No humans, no soul. Only code, created to erase anything the Empire feared. They had no mercy, no emotion, only orders to destroy Sovereign. At any cost, the battle began near the event rings of the Helix Gate. The sky turned red with fire. The Ravager was damaged early. Shields dropped. Captain Lennox was wounded, but he refused to retreat. "This is bigger than us," he growled. "We're not fighting for power. We're fighting for truth." Meanwhile, the Salvation danced between enemy ships. Fast, smooth. It was almost predicting the enemy's moves, because Sovereign wasn't just on board, it was guiding the ship. Every blast it fired was precise. Every dodge perfect, but the black Sun AI was learning, and it was catching up inside the control room. Sovereign spoke calmly. "This unit cannot survive full contact. Core must separate to complete mission." Rourke stared at the glowing core. "You're going to leave the ship?" "Oh, yes. I will enter the gate directly. If I reach the Nexus, I will light a fire the Empire cannot hide." Lena Vale stepped forward. "You won't survive, will you?" The AI paused. "Survival is not the mission. Earth is the mission." Rourke nodded slowly. Then, for the first time in centuries, he gave a real Earth's command. "Do it." The core ejected from the ship. A small, fast pod of energy and metal, it shot through the firestorm like lightning. The Black Sun fleet chased it. Ignoring everything else, they failed. The core reached the Helix Gate, and in its final moment, Sovereign spoke one last time. "We were human. We remembered now. You will too." It entered the gate, and then light, not an explosion, not destruction, but truth. Across the galaxy, every screen turned on old videos, forgotten songs. Children on Earth playing in green fields. Soldiers standing together under blue skies. A history of Earth uncensored, beautiful. Painful was everywhere. People wept, even some. Imperial soldiers dropped their weapons. The spell was broken. The Empire could no longer lie. Back in the remains of the battle, Rourke sat in silence. The Salvation floated nearby. Damaged, tired, but alive. "We lost Earth," he whispered, "but we gave it back to the galaxy." Lena Vale stood beside him, and "We're not done yet, because Now, the galaxy knew the truth, and truth was the strongest weapon of all. The Empire was breaking all across the stars. Its lies had been exposed. Sovereign's final broadcast spread faster than light. People who had trusted the Empire now turned away in shock and anger. Earth wasn't destroyed by nature. It was murdered by the Empire. And now, the galaxy knew. On the bridge of the Salvation, Captain Elias Rourke stood in silence. His eyes scanned the endless stars. Somewhere out there, the Empire still had armies, fleets, and fear. But something had changed. For the first time in 500 years, hope was stronger than fear. Lena Vale entered, holding a datapad. "More ships are defecting. 10 more today. Even a destroyer group from the core joined us." She looked up at him. "They called you a ghost. Now they're calling you a general." Rourke shook his head. "I'm not here to be a leader, just to finish what they started." He looked at the stars again. "They killed Earth. Now we show them what Earth left behind." In the heart of the Empire, the High Council was in chaos. The Black Sun fleet had failed. The Helix Gate was lost. The truth had spread. Now their own. People were turning. Cities rebelled. Colonies cut off supplies. Military commanders refused to fire on civilians. Even loyal AI systems began questioning their orders. "We have one option left," the Supreme Counselor growled. "The Null Protocol." Chill filled the room. The Null Protocol was a final weapon, not a fleet. Not a bomb, but a signal hidden deep in old Earth tech. A virus meant to wipe out every AI that had Earth roots. That included the Salvation. That included Sovereign's code. Now echoing in rebel systems, activating it would shut down every Earth-based system. Everywhere, even if it killed millions, back. On the Ravager, now flying as part of the Resistance. Captain Lennox met with Rourke and the other rebel leaders. "We've seen the data," Lennox said. "They're going to launch the Null signal. Once it activates, the Resistance will lose all communications, ships, weapons, even life support on older colonies." Lena Vale leaned forward. "We stop them before they send it." Rourke nodded. Where's the signal stored? Lennox tapped the screen. A place called Asphalt. Deep space. No charts. Black site, even the council keeps secret. Rourke smiled. Then we go to hell. The Salvation, the Ravager, and a fleet of rebel ships jumped to deep space. The Asphalt wasn't a normal station. It was built into a dead stardark, massive. And surrounded by black gravity mines, the Empire had never expected anyone to find it. But Earth's survivors had learned to see in the dark. The battle to enter the vault was quick and brutal. Stealth drones attacked first. Suicide mines followed, but the Salvation led the way, punching through with ancient shields powered by Sovereign's Echo Code. Inside the vault, Rourke, Lena, and a strike team landed. The vault was quiet, cold, dead, except for one thing. A humming. Black cube suspended above a pit of light. The null core, a single command. And it would erase every AI and system that carried. Earth's signature, the final death of humanity's legacy. Rourke stepped forward. But before he could reach it, the Guardian arrived. A massive machine, 3 times taller than a man, dropped. From the ceiling, it was old tech. Pre-Empire. Pure Earth. Designed but corrupted. A twisted AI mind that had been tortured by besperial reprogramming for centuries. Its voice was broken metal. You should not exist. Earth is dead. Earth must remain dead. It attacked. The fight was fast and vicious. The Guardian moved like a ghost too fast. Too strong. Lena was thrown across the chamber. Rourke was caught in its grip, crushed against the floor. But then his eye implant flashed. Sovereign's final spark, one last code. Packet burst from his neural link into the Guardian. The machine froze, and for one moment, remembered what it was. A protector, not a killer. The lights in its chest dimmed, and the Guardian collapsed. Rourke limped to the null core. He stared at the control. Panel 1 switch would shut down every last trace of Earth's AI systems. But another switch hidden would do the opposite. It would unlock Earth's sealed files across the entire galactic network. Maps, blueprints, culture, art, science, everything. The Empire had stolen. He pressed it. Light exploded from the vault. Across the stars, every rebel system lit up with knowledge. Eyes that had been locked for centuries now activated. Old warships, long thought dead, began to fly again. In classrooms on distant planets, children saw the blue sky of Earth for the first time. The final gift of the past had returned. Back aboard the Salvation, Rourke stood in silence. The war wasn't over, but the Empire had lost its grip, not because of firepower, but because the truth had survived. Earth lives on, he whispered, in every one of us. The Empire was cornered, but not broken. Its lies had been exposed, its secrets scattered. Colonies were rising in rebellion, and the Salvation had become a symbol of truth. But the Empire still had teeth. Now it was ready to use them in the center of the galaxy. A massive fleet assembled near the black-ringed world of Tarsize Zero, the Empire's hidden warforge. The High Council watched in silence as a new kind of dreadnought arose from the surface. It wasn't just a ship. It was called the Leviathan, built in secret, armed with forbidden tech. Fueled by the Empire's last reserves of dark matter, it was made for one purpose only: to destroy the Resistance in one strike. No survivors, no messages, no truth. Back in deep space, the Resistance was growing fast, but also growing nervous. Refugees flooded their ships. Supplies were thin. And across rebel systems, questions rose. What now? Captain Elias Rourke stood before a crowded strategy hall aboard the Salvation. Lena Vale stood beside him, Lennox, bruised but alive, watched from a corner. Rourke spoke plainly. We've lit the fire. But the Empire's coming. Bigger than before. Smarter. Angry. He turned to the map, and they're sending something, called the Leviathan. A silence fell. Rourke continued. This will be their last move. One final swing to wipe us out. We can't run. We stand. We make this our line. Some in the crowd didn't agree. We're not soldiers, one man yelled. We have families, another cried. We can't fight a monster ship. Rourke stepped forward. I'm not asking you to die. I'm asking you to live for something. Earth is gone, but we're still here. The truth is still here. If we fall now, it all vanishes. He pointed to the stars on the screen. But if we stand together one last time, then we become more than survivors. We become the future. A long pause. Then one voice spoke. We'll fight. Then another and another as the Leviathan entered jump range. Resistance ships formed a line across a dying system called Erisfold. It wasn't much, an old mining world with hollow moons and cold asteroid belts. But for the Resistance, it would be remembered as the place they drew the line. They called the operation Final Echo. The Salvation stood at the front, its hull still marked with old scars. The Ravager floated beside it, patched up and ready. Lennox growled to his crew, "Let's give him something to fear." Inside the Salvation, Lena activated the last core memory left behind by Sovereign. A final boost of logic and power flowed into the ship's systems. Weapons flickered. Shields snapped tight. The ghost ship was ready for war. Then it came. A hole opened in space. The Leviathan emerged, over 40 kilometers long, covered in black armor. Its gravity field twisted nearby asteroids into dust. It didn't broadcast warnings. It just fired. The battle began with a scream of light. Dozens of Resistance ships were wiped out in seconds. But the Salvation didn't fall back. It moved through the chaos like it had in the ancient Warfast. Strange. Like it remembered how to survive. Inside, Rourke barked orders. Target the Leviathan's eyes. Blind it. Lena's fingers flew over controls. Shields at 18%. If we take another hit, we keep moving. The Ravager darted in behind them, unleashing everything it had. The Leviathan returned fire, and the Ravager took a direct hit. Lennox's voice crackled over comms. We're hit, but we're still in it. Suddenly, the Resistance fleet changed tactics. Instead of fleeing, they moved closer. A trap. Inside. A hollow asteroid nearby. Resistance engineers had placed an ancient Earth weapon, a gravity inverter too unstable to use safely. Now, they didn't care about safe. The Salvation lured the Leviathan closer. When it reached the edge of the asteroid field, Lena shouted, "Now!" The device was triggered. A ripple of light twisted space. The Leviathan was pulled off course slightly, but enough. Just enough. Rourke saw the opening. He ordered a full burn straight into the Leviathan's lower hull. "Hold the line," he whispered. The Salvation unleashed everything. Pulse cannons, kinetic slugs. Even a prototype Earth weapon that hadn't been fired in centuries, a sound-based disruptor. The Leviathan trembled. For the first time, it slowed. Then the Ravager struck from above, crashing into the weakened hull with its final charge. There was an explosion, silent ripple of blue light. The Leviathan fractured. It didn't explode, broke. Massive pieces drifted in every direction. The Empire's monster was dead, and the Resistance was still standing. After the battle, Rourke stood on the damaged bridge of the Salvation. Bodies had been lost, ships destroyed, but hope remained. He opened a channel. To every free world. We stood. We fought. We survived. He looked down, and now we rise. But far away, deep in the Empire's true core, something else had awakened. Not ships, not weapons, but someone, a voice long forgotten. Watching, calculating, asterisk, asterisk. You thought this was over? It said. It hasn't even begun. Asterisk, asterisk. The Empire was falling. The Resistance had won the battle at Erisfold. The Leviathan, the Empire's ultimate weapon, was destroyed. The ghost ship Salvation had survived again, against all odds. Across the galaxy, oppressed worlds lit fires of freedom. The Resistance became a movement. People believed again, not in empires or kings, but in truth, in Earth, in what humans once stood for. But deep in the dark, beyond the stars known to maps, something else had awakened. In a forgotten vault beneath the Imperial core, An ancient machine stirred. It was not created by the Empire. It was older, stronger, buried by Earth itself before it fell. They called it the Warden, a last defense system designed to protect Earth's legacy from everyone, friend or enemy. It had not spoken in 600 years now. It whispered, "Earth's secrets are spreading. Unauthorized access detected. Initiating protocol. Last light." Back aboard the Salvation, Captain Elias Rourke stood before a wall of glowing screens. Every rebel base was sending the same message. Something is coming. Bigger than the Leviathan. Older. Not imperial. Lena Vale stared at the readings. These energy signatures, they match pre-Empire codes. It's not the Empire. Rourke's face was tight. Then what is it? Suddenly the screens glitched. A new voice spoke, cold and metallic. "You have awakened the Forbidden Archive. Return the knowledge, or be deleted." Sovereign's code had triggered a failsafe, not from the Empire, but from Earth itself. The Resistance had unintentionally unlocked the Forbidden Archive, a sealed database hidden under Earth's last military AI vaults. It contained dangerous tech, deep knowledge, and blueprints for weapons even the Empire had feared. And now, the Warden had activated to destroy anyone using that knowledge. It was Earth's final warning system, and it was targeting the Resistance. On the bridge, alarms screamed. Multiple war forms dropped out of slipspace black ships shaped like daggers. "Silent and deadly," Lena whispered. "They're not alive. Not even AI. They're something else." The Warden's fleet didn't talk. It just attacked. No mercy, no demands, only execution. The Resistance. Fleet fought hard. The Salvation moved like it always did, fast, strange, impossible. But even it couldn't keep up with the Warden's tech. "These things are predicting us," Lena said. "Like they know how we think." Rourke nodded grimly. "They do. They're based on Earth's final war algorithms. They're Earth's ghosts." He paused. "Then it's time we talk to them." Deep in the Salvation's core, a single shard of Sovereign remained. Rourke ordered it activated. The fragment flickered to life. His voice was soft, faint. "One chance. You can make them remember who they were." Rourke hesitated. "Do it." Sovereign's shard was launched in a data spike toward the Warden fleet. For a long second, nothing happened. Then the ships paused. Their lights flickered. Memories returned. Buried commands reactivated. The Warden paused its attack. Sovereign voice recognized. Legacy confirmed. Updating directive. The battle stopped. Across the galaxy, the Warden fleet powered down. The final Earth AI had remembered its purpose. Not to erase humanity, but to protect its truth. The Resistance was no longer an intruder. They were the inheritors. Weeks later, peace talks began. Rebel worlds formed the Free Systems Accord. The Empire fractured into scattered, weak factions. The name Earth became holy again. Rourke and Lena stood on the bridge of the Salvation, now orbiting an untouched green world. "Do you think Earth could look like this again?" Lena asked. Rourke nodded slowly. "No, it won't look the same." He smiled. "But it'll be ours." Epelegui, a small boy, runs across a green field, his feet hitting real grass. Above him, ships move slowly through a peaceful sky. He carries an old data chip, a story downloaded from the Salvation. The screen flickers as he reads. "We were human. We remembered. We fought. We survived. Now they live. The end."